What's up, guys? It's Toad back with you. Better Off Dead Wednesday, May 7th. 1-2 yesterday. We don't know anything about the NBA anymore, man. The home favorite has lost every game in the second round so far, which is just insane. Not only not covering, but losing outright. And Cleveland, just like Boston in game one, just like OKC in game one, and even though Cleveland did have a lead in their game one, this is not the case like with Boston and Denver. Boston and OKC in their games one, they each had a double-digit lead and blew it. Boston up by 20 in theirs and blew it. Last night, Cleveland, I think, was up by near 20 in the second half. That was looking like we were going to coast to a win there. And then they were still on the verge of covering up like 7 in the final minute or something, and they lose outright. I mean, at least I don't like Cleveland, so I mean, if they lose, I'm not going to, lose sleep over it. And it'll, if the Celtics are able to advance here, it'll give them probably a better matchup. I mean, they'll be a home favorite instead of a road, somewhat underdog. So hopefully that winds up being the Celtics may be the favorite to win the series against Cleveland at this point, if it gets to that either. But Indiana doesn't play any defense. The Celtics did sweep them last year, so I think that's probably the preferable opponent there. But yeah, we lost on Cleveland. We lost on the under in, what was the other game I had yesterday? Whatever it was an under in some baseball game. Let me just look real quick. Try to get through this. I'm going to do an abbreviated show here today, man. I got to try to get this done quickly. Oh, yeah, Minnesota-Baltimore. Minnesota only scored in 2 innings in the game, and if you had told me that, and plus Baltimore only scoring 1 run, then yeah, I would have been all over that under. It just so happened that those innings where they scored were a 5 spot and a 4 spot. So the game went over. And then I did get the under right in the Milwaukee game, even though that was a 4-0 game right away. As Milwaukee, I believe Milwaukee scored 4 runs in the bottom of the first inning off Wisniewski, but he settled down, didn't give up anything else. It stayed at 4, stayed under in the first half, so we got it. And it stayed under for the full game as well. So that was the one win. I'm not having a good May here. I mean, because of how bad March was, we're slightly down on the year right now, which is obviously not what I want almost halfway through the year. Late April, early May usually does well, but after I was 10-0 in NBA sides in the playoffs, are now 10-4 in those. Very frustrating. We're going to go right back to the well here, man. We're going to do this. New York at Boston, even though we're going to lay a little bit more than what it was. I think it was 9.5 in game one. The books have to move it to account for the zigzag, man. The books know that the zigzag is a thing, but I'm willing to lay a little bit of an extra price here. We're going to lay the points with Boston. I was at the game. It was one of the worst games I've ever been to. The game was put away, dude. The Celtics were winning the game by 20 points, despite the fact that they had their worst shooting game probably of the year. Let me see this. They shot 35.1% from the floor, dude, and 25% from 3, and actually were minus points from 3-point range. They missed 45 3-pointers, which I think is a record amount of missed 3-pointers in a playoff game. That's never going to happen again. They don't shoot this poorly. You know there's going to be some progression here, especially against a Knicks team that doesn't tend to actually defend the Celtics that well historically. The Celtics have had the Knicks number. Going into that game, they'd won 8 of the last 9 against the Knicks. Again, I'm expecting a lot of regression here. And Porzingis didn't even play after the first quarter in that game. He was out with an illness, and he really does damage against the Knicks typically. So I will also say player props to also adhere to the zigzags. So when you got a guy like Porzingis who didn't even really play in the first game, he has shredded the Knicks as a member of the Celtics. They don't have anybody that can really defend him. The way that he shoots from the outside, he's just a huge matchup problem. So he better be back and healthy. I don't know what the illness was, because if he plays, you can look for his point total, point prop over. You can look for Anunoby to go under, as he had a ridiculous game in game one, and he has been bad against the Celtics otherwise. Celtics usually are able to defend him. Some of that does have to do with Porzingis potentially being in the rotation there, but still, I would fade Anunoby on his point prop here after that ridiculous performance. And I would go over on Tatum's point prop because he historically destroys the Knicks. He had multiple 30-plus point outputs against the Knicks this year. Does well against the Knicks, and he had a horrific shooting performance in this game. Missed like a ton of 3-pointers. I think he missed about 11 3-pointers in the game. Probably that's not going to happen again. He's not going to shoot that poorly from the floor again. And he still had a double-double in the game. But I would expect his points to go over the total this time as well. So you can zigzag those. But we're zigzagging the side here, is obviously the Celtics cannot fall behind 2-0 or 0-2 at home. And the Celtics are probably the best team to play off of a loss, man. This has been their thing. Just straight up off of a loss. I mean, we know the Celtics win most of their games, but they're 20-2 in their last 22 games following a loss, and they're 18-4 against the spread in those games. And usually they are a favorite, and they actually do well as a road favorite in this spot too. And we saw it happen last year and into this year. I believe the Celtics have been in this spot in the playoffs 4 times now between last year and this year, which is playing off of a loss, and they've covered every single time coming off the loss, I'm pretty sure. Even though it got a little bit dicey against the Magic in the first round of the playoffs this year. Lay the points with the Celtics, -10. It seems like everybody's ready to award the Knicks the win in the series already after one game. Celtics are still a better team. They're the much deeper team. They're the team that's going to have the adjustments to make. And again, think about it. They just played basically their worst game of the year with Porzingis pretty much not playing in the game, and they were still winning the game by 20 in the third quarter. So what does that tell you? And they still almost won the game and lost in overtime. Yeah, the Celtics are the better team. Lay the points. Same goes for OKC, even though this one was 9.5 in game 1. We're up to 11. We're going to turn it up to 11. These go to 11, and it's going to happen. We're going to lay it with OKC. They're the way better team. Denver's not good defensively. And by the way, if you want to also zigzag on Boston to go over their scoring total, I agree with that too. And I agree with the over in the Knicks-Celtics game as well, as the game went way under, and that was in the first game. And it was mostly because the Celtics didn't shoot well. So if that doesn't happen again and the Celtics shoot better, they should go over their point total, which is about 111, I think. And the Celtics in the full game, I think, should go over. As the Knicks and Celtics have played high-scoring games pretty much every matchup that they played this season and into last season, I think. So I expect Celtics New York over is also worth a look, with the total being, I think, around the same. Maybe, I don't even know if it's gone up or if it's gone down. It's at 211, but I think it's worth a look to go over. Denver and Oklahoma City, I'm not really going to have much of a lean on the total here, just on the side. And by the way, both home favorites seem to be taking the cash. Celtics 67% of the cash to 62% of the tickets. Thunder 64% of the cash. 66% of the tickets coming in the Nuggets. The public, just based on one game now, they're off of Oklahoma City. And I told you, I thought Oklahoma City was going to be rusty, and I was right about them not playing particularly well in the first quarter. And Denver covered the first quarter, but I was right about Oklahoma City then turning it around and starting to do better in the game after that. They wound up taking a double-digit lead in the game. What I did not expect is them to collapse late in the game, and that's what happened. So, yeah, Denver, yes, they have the pedigree. We know that they've won a championship. They are the more experienced team with their personnel than Oklahoma City. But Oklahoma City is a very difficult team to beat. They're the much better team. Denver is actually surprisingly weak defensively. It's just that you have to figure out how to stop Jokic is pretty much the main issue there. Is Denver's surrounding cast is a little bit thin. Oklahoma City's a deeper team. Oklahoma City should win this game by margin. And again, throughout the first game, they had a big margin of they were leading by a big margin, just like the Celtics were. And then Oklahoma City had a ridiculous collapse at the end. They're winning the game, I think, by 7 or 8 in the final couple of minutes, and they wound up losing the game. I don't think that's going to happen again. I don't know if they had a particularly bad shooting performance. Really, Denver just crashed the boards, man, and out-rebounded them by 20. I still think that's kind of an outlier, though both teams actually didn't shoot particularly well in the game. It is a little bit concerning that Denver lost the turnover battle horrifically and still won the game, but OKC needs this game, man. They can't go out on the road into elevation down 0-2. So I think the rebound discrepancy is not going to be -20 for OKC this time, even though, yes, of course, Denver does have some elite rebounding, especially with Jokic in there, but I expect that to be less of a disparity here. We will lay the points with Oklahoma City, and the public seeing every underdog come in. It's getting ridiculous. By the Warriors T-Wolves, by the way, we'll talk about it tomorrow, but T-Wolves up to a 10-point favorite now. That's probably something I'm not willing to lay, man. That price is just too high. These are at least in the same ballpark. that they were before. Let's go to hockey. I do lean to Florida in the zigzag to bounce back. I have not played this one. I don't think I will because really the result wasn't that misleading in game one other than the fact that Florida did out-physical Toronto big time. We know Florida is definitely the way more physical team. They have the better defense, better goaltending. I expect them to win the series. I do expect them to win the game tonight and bounce back and win this game. Toronto is pretty elite offensively, though, and they have an elite power play. So that's kind of what they do. And Toronto did have a big lead in that game, and it wound up being close in the end as Florida actually cut it down to 1 goal, I think, close to the end. And it wound up being 1 goal again after they scored again. I think after Toronto might have put an empty net in or something. Still lean to Florida just because I think they're the better team. I expect them to win the series. Better defense and a slight zigzag spot, although I don't know if I want to actually try the zigzag just because it wasn't really that much of an outlier. Like, it wasn't really a crazy score there. It was a 1-score final score when it came down to it. But lean to Florida. They're up for -126 to -138. 68% of tickets, 96% of the cash coming in on them. I do agree with that. I am going to play the other game, and I'm going to play Dallas, which I think this is going to really mess with the public. The fact that Dallas is a favorite, and they've gone from a +100 dog to now -121 as a favorite. 51% of tickets on them, 58% of the cash. The public is going to look at this and think, wait a minute. Winnipeg has the best record in the NHL. They're at home. And the one thing I am concerned about is Winnipeg is very good at home. They're undefeated at home in the playoffs so far, 4-0. And they had the best home record in the NHL. So, yes, I'm a little bit worried about that. But the odds makers, this is really telling that Winnipeg had the best record in hockey. And the odds makers are telling you Dallas is the favorite against them. And Colorado would have been an even bigger favorite. And you saw when I did my bracket, I pretty much said whoever wins, whoever wins Florida versus Tampa Bay is probably going to get to the finals. So I did say that, or at least get into the round against, I think, Carolina in the next round. And I also said that the winner of Dallas-Colorado was going to beat Winnipeg. And I still think that is the case. Either team would be favored even on the road at Winnipeg. Either team would be favored. So that is definitely telling. Colorado would be an even bigger favorite, but I like Dallas here. Dallas also has the experience, man. I mean, this Dallas team has made playoff runs year after year, so you can't buck that experience, even though Dallas is dealing with some injury concerns and stuff. But I like Dallas in this one, man. I think they can match up. Their goaltending isn't that much worse than Winnipeg's, even though Hellebuck is the best goalie. He had some issues in some of the games, and he's not unbeatable because he had some issues against the Blues there. Dallas can score as well, and they play good defense. They're a well-balanced team. I think at this point, Dallas might make the finals. So I'm going with Dallas -125. It looks very misleading, or whatever the best price you can get on that is. Dallas is the play. Let's go over to Major League Baseball. Can I run through every game really quick because I get autistic and I talk about every MLB game? I don't know if I can, but Cleveland, Washington played a doubleheader yesterday, so their bullpens are shot. So if you wanted to look to an over in this game, I wouldn't blame you because Washington's bullpen sucks anyway. Both bullpens are not doing well, and this is Logan Allen against Michael Soroka. I definitely don't trust Logan Allen as a pitcher. I mean, his 1.53 whip is horrific, putting more than 1.5 men on base per inning. But Washington really hasn't seen much of him. Only Josh Bell has ever seen him. He's 1 for 5 off him. So Allen at least has that like unfamiliarity thing. And Soroka, on the other hand, I think actually has good numbers against. He's coming back from injury, by the way. His numbers don't look good this year, but it's a very limited sample size, so I wouldn't take that much away from that. But if you look at his stats against Cleveland. I'm going to try to get all these done fast, man. He's in 27 at-bats. He's held to a 111 average and 374 OPS. So it does give me some hesitation on playing the over there. And actually with Soroka's numbers against Cleveland, I think it might make sense to look towards Washington in this game, but I would probably only do it in the first 5 innings because you do not want any part of this Washington bullpen, who, as I've been pointing out, their ERA is like 2 runs higher than anybody else in Major League Baseball. Horrific bullpen. Cleveland down from -130, -125. They do have 57% of tickets, 90% of the cash, though. So the cash percentages on Cleveland, I'm just going to stay away. Houston and Milwaukee, I mean, Valdez is the way better pitcher over Quinn Priester. Quinn Priester, I've been saying he's not good, and he is starting to show that, obviously, as his numbers have skyrocketed with a horrendous 1.76 whip now, 5.79 ERA. We know he's not good. Framber Valdez is the way better pitcher. 1.27 whip indicates his 4.39 ERA. Maybe he's going to drop a little bit, and he's actually been pretty good against the Brewers hitters that have seen him before. In 26 at-bats, 192 average, 415 OPS. So Valdez does have good numbers against them. Priester, I believe, has never been seen before by Houston, so he at least has that. Going from only Walker has ever faced him before, and he's 0 for 1. So there is some unfamiliarity there, but I would not want to fade this pitching matchup there. We know that even though Valdez has been struggling, and I worry because he's not very good on the road, but he does have good historical numbers against Milwaukee, so that would be the deciding factor for me in that one, but I'm not going to play it, and Houston's bullpen is better than Milwaukee's as well. Milwaukee does have the better offense. 79% of tickets, only 73% of cash on Houston, though, and the line has gone down from minus 135 to minus 130, so the money is coming in against Houston, but we will see. Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Mitch Keller is the worse pitcher than Sonny Gray, so I would probably tip the scales to Sonny Gray a little bit there. But St. Louis is way up now from minus 146 to minus 170. But since the line has moved like that, the cash is coming back in on Pittsburgh. 54% of the cash coming in on Pittsburgh. 65% of tickets on St. Louis. Obviously, the public wants nothing to do with this Pittsburgh team as they suck. They didn't even win with Paul Skeens on the mound yesterday, and there's only so much he can do. He pitched really well yesterday, and he just gets no run support, and they lose the game anyway. So what can you do? Mitch Keller, I mean, he's an okay pitcher, but I'm actually surprised St. Louis is this big of a favorite because usually you see Mitch Keller getting some respect in the marketplace. He's not in this game, though, but against St. Louis, he's done okay in 163 at-bats, 245 average, 735 OPS. It's not bad, really. It's not great, but not terrible. 1.36 whip on the year is pretty high, though, so I don't trust him. Obviously, Sonny Gray is the better pitcher, 1.19 whip. His 4.12 ERA should actually be less. So you look, both pitchers have similar ERAs in the fours, but Sonny Gray very clearly is the better of the two pitchers, and he's done well against Pittsburgh in 92 at-bats, 29-4 strikeout walk ratio, 239 average, 684 OPS. So Sonny Gray, I would still lean to St. Louis in that one, but you have to lay like a -1 run line on them or something if you really want to do it. Drop that price down into something more reasonable because -170, probably too much to lay there. San Fran and Chicago, I'm just going to suck it up and lay the price with the Cubs, man. I think this is a spot where you can do it, and the public actually looks like they're kind of against it, and they're on San Francisco because they don't know who Robbie Ray and Ben Brown are in the alliterative pitching matchup here. 59% of tickets are on San Francisco. Public likes the Cubs typically as they can score a ton. They have a good record, but San Francisco has a good record as well. And San Francisco also destroyed the Cubs on the scoreboard yesterday, 14-5. So that probably has something to do with why the public wants San Francisco here. But if you look into that game, the game was 5-5 in the ninth inning, man. And the Cubs bullpen is bad. Yeah, it is. So we are a little bit worried about that coming into this game. But I think after an embarrassing 14-5 loss, you're going to bounce back. And again, it was a 9 spot in the ninth inning for San Francisco in that game that broke a tied game. So highly unlikely that that's going to happen again. And I like the starting pitching matchup here as well. Even though, yes, San Francisco has the way better bullpen. So that is a concern. So if you want to play Cubs first 5 innings, you can. You're going to lay more of a price for it, though, because the odds makers know San Francisco has the way better bullpen. So that's the one issue here. Cubs have the way better offense, though. But the public's going to look and say, hey, Robbie Ray, 3.05 ERA, that's pretty good, right? I don't know, man. 1.25 whip. One thing I am concerned about is, San Francisco has won every start of his so far, and he's going deep. He's being efficient with his pitches, but his last 2 starts are against Texas and Colorado at home. So those were like the easiest starts that he's had, really. Those were against weak offenses. And on the road against good offenses, he's been bad in every one of those games. Against Cincinnati, Yankees, Philly. And guess what he's doing today? He's going on the road facing a good offense. So those are the types of games that he's been awful. He's been awful in these road games. Granted, again, against good offenses, but the Cubs are a good offense. And yes, he holds them to a 241 average, and 87 at-bats. But an 828 OPS because he's walked 12 of them, and he's given up 6 home runs to them. Tucker and Turner both wreck him. So if you want to play some player props there, they each have a couple of home runs off him as well. I don't trust Robbie Ray at all, man. And he does walk too many guys, whereas Ben Brown, I actually trust him more, even though his stats look terrible. 4.88 ERA, 1.66 whip. If you look at his worst starts, they were against the Dodgers. He had to pitch in that A's stadium. It's a very hitter-friendly park. San Diego, he did well against the Dodgers second time. Did okay against Arizona, who does hit pretty well. And then Philadelphia, and now he's coming off a shutout against Milwaukee. So there's been almost no let-up, dude. The weakest offense he's faced all season is the A's, and their offense isn't even that bad. So I think Ben Brown is better than his numbers would suggest. He's actually stepping down in class here a little bit, and San Francisco has never seen him before. Only Adames has, and he's 0 for 3 off him. So I actually think Ben Brown has a bit of an edge here. I played on him in his last game, got an easy win on the Chicago Cubs, and I'm going to do it again. He does have more than one strikeout per inning here. He's just got to... The hits are really the concern here. I mean, the walks are slightly concerning, but he's got to get the hits down. He's just been too hittable, man. But in his last game, he may have shown signs of starting to turn it around. Really, if you look at his strikeout walk ratio the last 2 games, it's 9-1 over 9 2/3 innings, so that doesn't seem that bad. We're going to go with the Cubs here, and the market seems to agree with it. I think they're going to be pissed after what happened last night. They're going to bounce back, so we're going to do that. Seattle A's, I'm going to do something I almost always recommend against, and I haven't done it yet this season. I'm going to play an under in the Sacramento Stadium that is so conducive to hitting. I think this pitching matchup is so good that we got to go under in this one, man. You got Brian Wu pitching with a 0.83 ERA, 0.83 whip, 2.58 ERA. And against the A's in 92 at-bats, he's pretty much completely dominated them. 163 average and 445 OPS. You're not going to see a sample size like that with that amount of dominance like hardly ever in the MLB. So you got to look to play Wu in some way in this game, even though, yes, this is going to be a hitter-friendly park that he's going into, but Brian Wu, very, very good. Very, very good historically against these hitters. And Gunnar Hoglund pitching for for Sacramento, for the homeless A's. He's only made 1 start in his major league career, so Seattle has never seen him before. So I think that's a little bit of an edge to Hoglund. As I always say, when you're a decent young pitcher, you tend to do well you tend to do a little bit better early on because those hitters don't know what to expect out of you. I handicapped him in this Miami game, and I think I won on that game, maybe on an under or something. He went 6 innings. I know it's Miami and they suck, but he went 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, no walks, and 1 earned run allowed on a solo home run. Very, very good. I mean, for a major league debut, you can't do that much better than that, man. So Hoglund looks like he's going to be able to keep us in this game as well. And this total is way high because it's in this Sacramento Stadium. I think 9 is just way too high. It's flipped from 9 juice to the over to 9 juice to the under already, even though 57% of tickets, 73% of the cash coming in on the over. I'm going under in that game. Next up, Mets, Arizona. Play the Mets in this one. I think the Mets definitely have the advantage here. Minus 124 or so. We'll go full game because the Mets do have a better bullpen than Arizona. The bullpen usage, I think, is about the same. By the way, the bullpen usage is about the same in Giants and Cubs as well. The thing that pushed me over the edge with the Cubs is just that the bounce back spot. I think they're going to be that motivated to win the game and not just get a first 5 innings, not just have the lead after the first 5 innings. Mets, Arizona, Kodai Senga. I mean, he's still flying under the radar, man. He's actually really, really good. 1.38 ERA, 1.16 whip so far this year. His walk number is a little bit high, but other than that, I mean, he's just been really, really good. And yes, I know he did just face Arizona, so it's a little bit of a concern that he just faced the team that he's facing against. So usually that does help the hitters a little bit, but 54 at-bats, Arizona has not been able to hit him. They only have 8 hits against him, 26-5 strikeout walk ratio, 148 average, and 368 OPS. So Senga has dominated them. And Merrill Kelly, I don't trust as much, man. He's decent. I mean, whatever, and yeah, I know that he's facing an offense that hasn't faced him this year, so Senga has a slight disadvantage because of that, because the hitters just saw him. But Merrill Kelly is definitely the lesser pitcher, so we're getting the better starting pitcher with the Mets. I would argue the Mets might even have the better offense here, and they have the better bullpen, so I like the Mets here, and that's why they're laying a price on the road here, and they're in a bounce-back spot, I'm pretty sure, because they lost to the D-backs yesterday, so Merrill Kelly, even though, yeah, his numbers are pretty good, 1.06 ERA, 4.0, or 1.06 whip, I keep saying ERA, 4.06 ERA, 246 average allowed to the Mets is not bad, obviously. 65 at bats, but he's allowed 5 home runs to them, 3 to Pete Alonso and 2 to McNeil. But Alonso player props could be worth a look there. 246 average and 858 OPS. So that OPS is pretty high. So we're going to go with the Mets. They're up for minus 118 and minus 125. A lot of money coming in on them. So I like this side. Market agrees. 52% of tickets, 83% of cash on the Mets. Play it. Let's go. Let's keep going here. How can I even finish this, man? Dodgers, Miami. Dodgers is laying way too much of a price. Landon Knack coming back from injury. His numbers on the season don't look good, but last year he had a pretty good season, and Miami hasn't really seen him, so I think he's more trustworthy than Beozo, who's been a little bit all over the place. So Dodgers should win, but you have to lay way too much of a price. Texas, Boston. Mahle has been good, but I expect him to kind of regress here, and Tanner Houck seems to actually be starting to at least pitch a little bit better for Boston. Both pitchers actually have decent numbers against the opposing hitters, so it's all kind of difficult to figure out, man. So I don't know what I would want to do there. Philly, Tampa. I told you to go over in this game yesterday. I wish I played it because I was right. Even though Zach Wheeler actually did pitch well in the game, Philly was the right side in that game as well. Tampa, Rasmussen did not pitch well. And here, I'm going the other way. I'm going to go under in Philly and Tampa. Christopher Sanchez has been very, very good for the Phillies this year. He hasn't allowed more than 4 earned runs in any start. Last 4 starts, he hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any start. And he's faced a couple of good offenses in there, too. So Sanchez, I'm worried that his whip is too high. 1.34 whip, that is definitely alarming. 3.45 ERA should probably be higher with a whip like that. But 39 to 11 strikeout walk ratio is not that bad, man. So he is striking out a lot of guys. He does have stuff that can definitely blow hitters away. So I think he's a little bit more trustworthy than that whip would suggest. And against Tampa in 24 at-bats, 250 average allowed, 572 OPS. So I think we can trust Sanchez to continue rolling. Shane Baz, I think, is going to bounce back. I mean, his numbers are good this year. 1.17 whip, 3.86 ERA. He just came off a really bad start, but he's not allowing very many hits. He's striking out a lot of guys. He just allowed 7 earned runs to a bad Kansas City team. Yes, it's a little bit concerning that he's walked more guys than he's struck out in 2 of the last 3, but one of those is against the Yankees. So I'll kind of give him a pass for that one because that's a difficult assignment. Kansas City, though, I mean, yeah, that is very concerning. And he allowed way too many fly balls in that game. But that hasn't really been what he's allowed somewhat too many fly balls, but not to that extent. So I do expect him to bounce back. And against Philly, 17 at-bats. They haven't seen that much from him. He's held to a 176 average, 616 OPS. So we will go under in this interleague game here. You know I like going under in interleague games because there's less familiarity of the pitchers. 60% of tickets are on the over in that one. Line hasn't really moved, and 53% of the cash on the under. So more market agreement there. Let's keep going. Let's finish it off. San Diego Yankees. We're going over in this one. Both starting pitchers, even though they're good, and I like Dylan Cease to start turning it around, don't think it's going to happen in this game. He's been bad on the road this year, although granted one of those games was in that bad Sacramento Stadium, but this is still a hitter's park in this one as well. 5.61 ERA, 1.6 whip. Yeah, he has better stuff than that. He's going to have to get it together, but I don't think it's going to happen here as the Yankees in 35 at-bats have hit him to a 314 average and 872 OPS, so Cease has not ceased the Yankees' bats. And Max Fried, on the other hand, yeah, he's having an excellent season. 0.94 whip, 1.01 ERA, but he's coming off an excellent start. We had a 1-hit performance in 7 innings. His best start of the season. I know he hasn't had any bad starts this season except for the one against Milwaukee in his first start, but not every start from his is going to be the best, man. So I actually expect that maybe San Diego is going to be able to hit him a little bit because here's the thing. San Diego is pretty familiar with him for being in the NL. 79 at-bats worth, 304 average against him, 780 OPS. So San Diego's hitters, they're pretty good, and they're pretty good against Max Fried. And the last time he faced San Diego was when he was on the Braves in the playoffs last year, and we know how that turned out. He gave up 5 runs in 2 innings. So I do expect some regression out of Fried. Maybe it happens here over in the Yankees game there. And again, I think maybe you're getting a little bit of value on that too because the perception is at least that Freed is very, very good, which he is, but I like the over there. It's gone up a little bit from 7.5 juice to the over to 8 juice to the under. 67% of tickets, 99% of the cash coming on the over. So market seems to agree with me on it. And then what else we got? Let's try to get this done real fast here. Rest of the games. I'm going to play the Cincinnati Reds as well on the money line here. Hunter Green. I mean, this guy, people still don't realize how good this guy is. He's an absolute ace. 2.53 ERA, 0.82 whip. Strikeout rate is enormous. 55 strikeouts and 8 walks. Might be the best in baseball. And only 27 hits allowed in 42 2/3. This guy, and he's coming off, I mean, he's pitched well, like in Coors Field. I mean, he hasn't faced any great offenses so far. But the Braves, I don't consider to be a great offense. And against them, he's done pretty well in 49 at-bats, 224 average, 684 OPS. I trust Green, man. I mean, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. I don't think there's any way around that. He's better than Grant Holmes, who has been pitching decently, but is less trustworthy. He's a mediocre pitcher, 4.24 ERA, 1.21 whip. I mean, he has been better at home, so we do have that, but a 35-19 strikeout walk ratio is a bit alarming, even though he's not been very hittable. He's allowing very few hits, but he also, I mean, in the last several games, except for this Dodgers game, well, actually, and I guess Arizona, before those two, he faced a couple of weak offenses, which are kind of his better starts of the season. Against better offenses, he hasn't done that well. Not that the Reds are a great offense, but they're probably a little bit better than like Minnesota, Toronto right now. So I think it's going to land somewhere in the middle for Holmes here. And he has not done well against the Reds. In 21 at-bats, he's allowed a 333 average and pretty high 820 OPS. So we're going to go with the Reds in that game, and the money, I believe, is coming in agreement with me on that one too. They flipped from plus 100 to minus 113, 81% of tickets, 86% of the cash. So I know this is a loaded baseball card, but we're taking the Reds. And then to finish it off, I mean, I want nothing to do with Morton and Woods Richardson in Baltimore, Minnesota. You could go over in this game. The total's really high for a reason. Morton has been horrific this year, probably right at the end of his career. His numbers are good against Minnesota, but I just don't think you can trust him at all now. White Sox, Kansas City, Cannon and Walker both have good numbers against these opposing hitters. I don't know if I trust Cannon really because his numbers aren't really that good in general, but maybe a slightly into the under there. Detroit, Colorado got rained out yesterday, so now we have even more rested bullpens and maybe some cold bats coming into this game. So I said I like the under in this game, and I still do. It's the same pitching matchup with Job and Dollander, who are both completely unfamiliar to the opposing lineup. So even though you never really want to play an under in Coors Field, I think that's maybe a game where you actually do want to look that way. Total actually a little bit lower than it usually is at Coors, 9.5. And then Toronto and Anaheim, it looks like the money is, like the professional money's coming in on Toronto, but Barrios has really bad numbers against Anaheim, so I don't want to do that. And Kikuchi has okay numbers against Toronto, but Kikuchi has been really bad this season so far, and Barrios should start turning it around at some point, so I see some conflicting ways of feeling on that game. That's going to do it for me. Hopefully these games get there. Hopefully we get some wins today. Tower Gang Tone on Twitter, patreon.com/Tower Gang. Support us. Go to Bro Grove. Meet us there. Tower Gang is on tonight at 9:11 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Andrew, thanks for hanging out, man. I don't know what Angels game that was, but I got to get out of here, man. Actually, that was the game that I lost on. Fuck the Angels. They can get fucked. Peace out, everybody.